Hey, Krista.
Ah,
How's the weather?
it's lightening up. The snow's lightening up, but most people are still like the Wi-Fi sucks right now. Everyone's internet in my area kind of went out for a while. It's like been spotty. It's kind of come back in, but it. So we just tried watching a show and it kept cutting out. So I'm not trusting it. I'm on my Wi-Fi. I'm on my hotspot.
Mm-hmm.
I love that background, Gia.
Thank you.
Hey, guys. Welcome. Looks like a bunch of
Hi.
people trickled in. And hi, Steven.
I feel like there's a lot of new people and new faces, but at the same time, it's so strange because like it's been so long since we've been at campus. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen some of you or seen some of these names, but it's really nice to see a lot of like students attending.
Do you want me to share my screen? Or are you good to do it? I can do it.
Yeah, could you still do it?
Mhm.
Thank you.
All right. Do you think now's a good time to start?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Hey, guys. Thanks for coming. Um, we wanted to do just like a quick welcome, say hello, especially for anybody who might be, this might be your first Momi Love meeting. Just wanted to say hi and welcome. Today we are going to be going over some commotion prep. That's what we're going to be doing for the next couple of meetings before commotion. And we've got Stephen Withers here today. He's from Career and Alumni Success. So he's going to help us go over some examples of good resumes and portfolio websites. And then, after that, we'll go over and just talk about it again. Other than that, just a few general announcements, including, what topics we're going to cover in the upcoming meetings and some workshops outside of Mommy Love meetings, and then just acknowledging that we dropped the names of all of the company attendees for commotion. So yeah. um, so to start, if you guys aren't already in the Discord server, that's where a lot of like communication and updates are happening in the Facebook as well. So we post about these meetings over there every time they happen. Um, and so part of that server is, like updating your name so that we know exactly who's talking. Like sometimes, you have like a fun username, but if you update it with your actual name in that server, then it's easier to just like get to know other students. And then something else you can do is update your status to say certain things. So I'm going to hand it over to Alex, who is our resident Discord mastermind and helped us, create that server. If you guys didn't know, which is like a huge project, and I'm gonna let her talk a little bit about status updates.
Oh, thank you, Anna. I wouldn't say mastermind, but I do have my moments. So for those of you that don't know what a Discord status is, essentially, if you look at the right side of your Discord screen at any time, if you are on a computer or if you are on mobile, you can just swipe over to the left and it will show the list of all the names that are on Discord, who's in the server. And sometimes under certain people, you might see a little bit of gray text. And all that is a status message. It is a customizable thing that you can put in on your own Discord. And what we're suggesting is if you would like to, you can put your status message as your pronouns. And we're just suggesting this. You can really put whatever you want. But just so that people can be a little bit more aware of what everyone else's pronouns are, to just create a more respectful community, since we're able to be online and we can show that for everybody. So I'm going to go through and talk about how to adjust your status message for both PC and for mobile. Just so you know, I have an iPhone 7, so the screenshots are from there. It might be a little bit different if you have a Samsung, but it should be in the general area. So I'm going to start off with the PC. So first what you want to do is when you go to any server you're on, in the lower left-hand corner, there will be your name. It's in the little red box there on screen. And if you're gonna want to click on your Discord icon, make sure you avoid hitting the part where it has your username or like your Discord number below, because that will copy your like Discord ID. So just click the little icon that's your picture. And then what will pop up is, oh, you can go back one slide. And then what will pop up is, yeah, right there on the right-hand side, what you can see is it says online idle, do not disturb and invisible. And right at the bottom of that box says set a custom status. And so when you click that, then this new thing will pop up, and what you can do is in the first box, you can type whatever message you want. There is a character limit, but it's like 200, 300 characters or something. So you can get a pretty decently sized message in there if you want to, write a few paragraphs, or you could just do what Krista did and put her like pronouns in there. I wrote Fruity Pebble Slap because I've been eating a lot of those and I really wanted to share that with everybody. So, but it's really up to you what you want to do. Before you hit save, there is a little drop down menu that says clear after. I set mine to don't clear, and what that means is that your status message will stay like that until you decide to remove it. There are other options where Discord will set a timer, and then after like an hour or 4 hours, then it will automatically clear the status message. But I just keep it on don't clear and then adjust it as needed. And then you hit save and it's good to go. And it will pop up on the side and everybody in the server can see it. So next is for mobile. Again, this is for an iPhone 7. You're going to want to start off in the lower right-hand corner this time and hit your profile. And then your profile page will pop up and you can hit set status. It will say either online, idle, do not disturb, or invisible, depending on what you set it to. But if you just tap that, then the little box that is being moused over right now, you can see that will say set a custom status there at the bottom. And it's the same way that you do it on mobile. You just select set a custom status, then you will be able to type what you want again, and then there's the same clear options on the other one. This last photo here will just show you, you can see to double check that you put it in correctly. You see it will say like my username is right there with my Discord number, and below it is the custom status that I put. You can check it there and it will also show up on the whole server. So that's really how to do it. It's not too complicated. Does anybody have any questions right now? Okay, well, if you think of anything at any time, please feel free to at me in the server, or you can DM me privately if you're more comfortable with that, and I'd be more than happy to help you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Alex. We just wanted to have that quick little tutorial because for a lot of us, we haven't used Discord before. So I definitely didn't know how to do that. And that's something that I wanted to use. So there you go. To move on. So next we've got pitches and pizza. So I think Gia is going to go ahead and open up pizza raffle.
It's open.
It's open.
It's in the
Okay.
giveaways and raffles channel. Just react with the little party popper emoji, and then you'll enter.
Yeah. So anyone who this is their first Momi Love meeting, normally the in-person meetings we have free pizza every single time. Since we can't have a meeting together, what we're doing instead is a pizza raffle every meeting, so that one person's going to get a free pizza. So yeah, I'm not sure we have any student pitches today.
Yeah, I don't think so, but I mean, if anybody did have one, you can speak now for a older piece.
Yeah. Until next meeting, at least.
Yeah, we also like just so people who are new know that we normally reserve a spot in the beginning of our meetings for students who have projects that they would like other MOMI students help on, or this is also available to other majors who would need any sort of motion graphics work on their projects, and this is for you guys to connect and collaborate on other projects. So feel free to email us or reach out in any way really, and we can set up a time slot for you to like have a little presentation and share with students if you need somebody to help you on a project. So yeah, you could do that for next week or something if anybody is thinking about it.
All right, so next on the agenda, a couple updates. Firstly, we just wanted to give a shout out to Startup, which is starting very soon, if not already. I don't have the information in front of me, so I can't really speak to that actually. I am a little underprepared for that.
Does Anna, are you doing Startup right now? Annie?
Yeah, she
I don't think she's in here right now. That's okay though. But it's the event that the Flux, the UI UX Majors Club puts on. Carly just linked their website if you guys want to check it out. But they honestly, we always collaborate with Flux and UI UX, and so they're just a really great club, and this is kind of their version of Commotion a little bit. So definitely check it out and see if that's something you guys want to be involved in or interested in. But yeah.
Yeah, I believe it's a week-long event, and it's actually really awesome for motion designers to get involved because one of the requirements is that you have to have 2 or 3 majors in one team at least. It can't be comprised of the whole, just one major, and usually they need some motion designers on their projects. So follow their Instagram and find out about Startup if you're interested. Something else is that we've added companies to the roster, which are Meptic and Hobbs. Actually, I think Hobbs. They told us they want to come, but I don't have like an official thing right now. I shouldn't have put that there.
No, it's okay. They attended last year, and they seem super excited about attending. They haven't officially put in their thing yet, so I guess technically we can't is what Anna's saying, I guess. But they are super excited about wanting to attend Commotion, and they will be added to the RSVP pretty soon. So just keep that in mind. We wanted to basically bring that up because we know that some students have already submitted their RSVP form, or not RSVP, sorry, there's so many forms of like mixing them all up, but your portfolio review application. So if you have already submitted your portfolio review application and then one of these companies that you actually wanted to review with was added after the fact, you do have the option to resubmit in the event that one of these companies that you did want to, but we'll be able to see if you added that company, if you added a new company or not that like wasn't there. You can swap them out for one of your top 10. But in that case, we will just only use your most recent submission that has the added company. And we wanted to just let students know that because, as you know, since we have announced the company attendee list, you know, there's been a few companies that were like, oh, hey, I actually want to attend. So we always want to incorporate as many companies and, you know, people as possible. The more the merrier. So as that happens, we just want to let you guys know that we still want those to be available to you for portfolio reviews.
We'll go over like resubmission for that kind of thing later in this meeting, including like, you know, that should be still within the deadline that we've set for that. But we'll get into a little more details about that in a little bit, because now I would like to pass the mic to our guest, Stephen Withers. I'm going to stop screen sharing so that in case he has anything he wants to share, he can share that.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Anna. Thank you so much for having me, Anna and Krista. It's a pleasure to be here as always. I wish I was, you know, at Monty with you guys eating pizza, but hopefully soon we'll be doing that. I'm going to share my screen. I apologize, I don't have like a fancy deck prepared. I do have some tabs in a browser, so we'll go with that. But I wanted to talk to you guys today really quick about like what we do at CAST and send you all some resources to take advantage of. I know that there's a lot of stuff coming up, including, you know, obviously Commotion, and the career fair is also coming up too. And so something that's, you know, top of mind for everyone is, you know, resumes and websites. So first of all, I'm actually just going to share in the chat a link to this deck that I have. But yeah, so let's get started. I just want to give like a kind of brief overview of some key points that I like to talk about with resumes and portfolio sites, because I know that Anna and Krista will go into that too. So just to start it off, let's talk about resumes. So I know that we have a bunch of different people here, from like freshmen to alumni, and you're all kind of at different areas or different stages of you know, putting out your resume. So just to get you started, there's actually a really handy how-to guide accessible on our Discord server, which is linked in the initial slide here. And that's the Resume 101 guide. So if you load this up, it basically has everything that you need to get a resume started. And I love this slide here because it goes over the basics. You know, you have a header, which includes your name, specialization, and contact info. You want to have education, don't include your high school. You want to have relevant experience, which includes projects, internships, all that stuff. Then you can have jobs or additional experiences, maybe you aren't in the creative field, but you still want to include those. And then you have skills. And you know, skills are useful to kind of subdivide into maybe 2 or 3 different categories. I like to suggest having software as a category and then technical skills. So that's like what you do in the software. And that can be like, you know, typography, 2D rigging, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then you can have professional skills or soft skills. So you can also have awards and volunteer stuff, and that kind of take that on a case-by-case basis, depending on what's most relevant for you. So in general, when you're looking at resumes, simple is better. Be sure that you're using like a visual hierarchy to kind of guide your eye through the document. And just to show you some examples, let's see, I've got a ton pulled up here. Let me go to one in particular. Okay, we'll start with Celia's. I really like hers. All right, so I really like on this resume, Celia uses a blue color that's tied into her logo, and she uses that as an accent color for her section headings. And then if you look at her like job or project information, she kind of bolds the company name, italicizes the internship or her role or title, and then has some bullet points below. So that's a really effective way of using visual hierarchy to kind of signify the order of importance of information, rather than just like kind of throwing everything on at the same font size, text styling, etc. So, basically it should be really easy to read, really easy to skim. If I'm a recruiter and I want to know, like, okay, I'm looking for After Effects, Unreal Engine, and a collaborative project, I should be able to find those things on the resume within like a few seconds. And most importantly, your contact information needs to be easy to find. I recommend always putting it like at the top. You do have to have a portfolio website, just if you're submitting your resume on the job portal, that's a requirement. But that can be like a Behance or even Adobe Portfolio, whatever you got, but be sure to include that. Also be sure that you're putting your specialization. And I get questions about this a lot. If you have multiple specializations, or if you're have one primary one and then maybe one secondary one, it's okay to have like motion design / 2D animation. That's totally fine. But be sure you have that there so it's easy to tell what you do. Thumbing through. Okay, so in general, simple is better. And first of all, I apologize if I pull up your resume in this presentation. Don't feel embarrassed if you have a good one. So this one I actually like. It's got gradients and colors and things like that, but it's still easy to read, still easy to skim. So if you're going to include graphics and make it kind of design, which it should be a reflection of you, so that's okay. But make sure that it's easy to read, and the majority of the text should be like dark text on a white background. In this one, because the sidebar has a cool gradient, it still works out. But in general, the less graphics you have, that kind of actually draws more attention to, like if you have a logo like in the top corner, if you don't have anything else competing with it, that really draws the attention to your branding. So just something to keep in mind. All right, another thing I like to suggest is, it's important to have your experience and jobs and all that stuff listed out. But I also like to include something that's memorable, or like a little Easter egg. So one thing I like on Jason's resume is under his awards section, he's got an award that says Mother Hung Drawing on the Fridge, Winter 2002. So if I'm reading that, then that's like a funny little thing that I'm going to remember if I'm a recruiter, or someone looking at 100 resumes. I also like his descriptions of his jobs and projects. In general, when you're doing these, you want to be descriptive. You want to include information about how you worked with a team or worked with other people, or even if it was a personal passion project, just be sure to mention that. And then you want to describe your role, what you did, what you accomplished. And so this one, Jason says, worked alongside Meister's creative director to concept and design a drone project, the pipeline, blah, blah, blah. And then you kind of list the result. So that's a good one. Yeah, in general, you just want to incorporate like soft skills into these descriptions too. So anytime you can use words like collaborated with or work directly with the client to do something, those are all good ways to start those sentences. All right. Oh, Jackie's is another good example. She's a UX designer, but I like on her resume, again, visual hierarchy, using different kind of font styles to guide your eye through the document. And going back to funny little quips, I like Desmond's resume. This might be an old one. I think it might be like a year or two old. So sorry, Desmond, but I do like his sentence at the bottom where he says what he also likes to do: reading Google Calendar, learning, fermenting veggies, growing oyster mushrooms, hiding Dragon Balls, beer with good company. That's great. I'm definitely going to remember that from the recruiter.
Thanks, Steven.
All right. So let's move on really quick to portfolio sites. I'm trying not to take too much time here, but there's a lot of stuff to cover. So feel free to schedule an appointment with me too. We can all go over this again. Portfolio sites, what I'm going to discuss right now is kind of independent of platforms. There's Wix, Squarespace, WordPress, Behance, Adobe Portfolio. Some key kind of principles, regardless of the platform. the most important thing I like to talk about is creating a good first impression. And you know, you got to think about it from the recruiter's standpoint. If they're looking at a spreadsheet of like 50 people and they click on your site, you want to be able to show your work right up front. You want to give a good first impression of who you are, you know, personality wise, and you know, the work that you've done. So it's really important, whatever you do, to have that immediately on your site. And there's some, you know, debate about, should you have your demo reel as the landing page, or should you have your portfolio page as the landing page? I think the same principle applies. Just whatever you do, be sure that you're showing your work up front. So Sam's site I really like because she uses huge tiles. They're animated GIFs. I can see motion. I can see her design sense. I can see that she's worked on like kind of commercial projects. So I'm really getting a lot of information from this, and I don't have to click into anything to see it. Now, her reel page, this is also, it's okay to have a reel page and have that be your landing page. I would recommend, if you do this, be sure that your poster frame is, you know, communicating something, like have it be like a style frame or a good piece of work that you've done. It should show something about, you know, who you are as an artist. So don't repeat your logo, and make it be something more special. You can do both too. So Abby's site's really good. She has a reel at the top with a nice poster frame, and then there's work right underneath. So you could do this. You could have your demo reel be like the first tile on your portfolio as well. I've seen that done as well. One thing also to keep in mind is with these tiles, you know, include some context in these rollovers. So you could have the project title. You could have like what the project is, like, you know, like title sequence in a film, or like commercial project. Just include more information on those rollovers. You'd want to also be sure that you're including process for your projects. So, you know, it's easy on Squarespace to just like kind of create a gallery and have like it, you know, you click on a tile and it opens one image and then that's it. You want to create separate pages for your main projects that you want to feature. So I click on this one on Abby's site, and she's got the final project at the top. And then she goes into process. What does a project mean? What is she trying to do? She talks about ideation, sketches, some key, and that's it for this one. You can, you know, just look around and reference other people's process. I would recommend not just dumping like a PDF that you do for class. That's just too much information. Sometimes you should have like a curated kind of, not a blog post, but just like a page where you're describing what the project is, what you're trying to accomplish, key challenges that you overcame. Because recruiters really want to know your problem solving skills and how you approach issues. And you know, I was sitting in the Mills portfolio review the other day, and they actually cited the process page of one of the students they were reviewing as, you know, standing out because it showed good typography. So anything that you show on your site, just be sure that it's always communicating those things. You can reference like industry sites as well. So I pulled this one up. I saved it a long time ago, but it's a page from Black Math on Behance, and they describe like a branding package for an event. And this is a great process page to check out. They're including all the things that we talked about. It's just fun to go through and see the thought process behind it. So, you know, feel free to reference the stuff in the industry too. Okay, so moving on from portfolios, you know, most sites have like a real portfolio about contact. That's like basic. You can also have another tab if you have another specialization. So Lewis has a design and an animation tab. And that's sometimes appropriate if you have like kind of multiple areas you're interested in, or maybe you do like UX or UI stuff on the side and you want to put that somewhere else. You can have a separate tab for that. About pages are another good way to, you know, help that first impression and create a good overall impression of who you are as a person. This guy, I apologize, white guy with a beard. Maybe I can pull up someone else. Nicole, okay, there. So about pages are a good place to inject your personality. You don't have to be too detailed, but again, one thing that recruiters and people reviewing your site want to know is who you are as a person, what you're like to work with, what's your personality. Those are all very important factors. So the more insight you can give on your about page, the better. And I like Nicole's page. She gives some background information. She talks about switching careers. And she talks about like what she's passionate about, why she's passionate about that. So that's effective. Also, if you want to check out a really good one, your co-president Anna has a really great about page. So just keep that in mind. It doesn't have to be this complex though. You could just have a simple sentence like, hey, this is me. I'm really passionate about creating like my own typefaces and driving emotion through typography. I really enjoy cats, or I like cats and dogs. Something like that. That's totally fine too. You're just injecting your personality there. Some people have like an other work tab or like sketches or play. That's a really good way to show work that you don't necessarily want to feature on your homepage, but still shows your skills. Maybe other skills like lighting, photography, composition, things that still help. And I like Nicole's. She's got a page called Lagniappe, which is Cajun for a little something extra. And here she has like 3D renders, tests, funny animated GIFs. So again, just kind of driving the overall impression of who she is. Carly Johnson also has a play tab, and I like to bring this one up. I really love her papercraft projects, and I like that she does projects for like holidays, like National Sandwich Day, Hanukkah, Merry Christmas. This is great content for not only to put on your site, like in another work tab, but also to promote on Instagram or social media, get people to look at your stuff. And lastly, contact. You can include contact on an about page. So Carly, this is like an about page almost. So some people do it differently, but just be sure that your information is easy to find. It can be on a contact page, it could be in the header or footer, it could be on your about page, but just make sure that it's easy and accessible. I'd recommend, you can have a form, but be sure that you have your email address also visible, because some people don't like using forms. Yeah. Okay, I think that's pretty much all I have to say right now. I'm happy to answer questions. Maybe we can do that after Anna and Krista also talk about portfolios and resumes too. But yeah, feel free to shoot me any questions, hop on our Discord, which you can find here. Feel free to email me or schedule an appointment. All right, thank you.
The points that we have are kind of just reiterating a lot of what you covered. So, I mean, does anyone want to ask Stephen any questions before we move on to that?
I did actually. I was looking over the ClickUp link you sent.
Mm-hmm.
In relevant experience, you mentioned projects. Do you mind diving into that a little bit more? Because I'm a little confused with that. I usually see studios and stuff or places you've already worked. So what do you mean by projects?
Yeah. So you're talking about like, how would you list projects on your resume?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. I mean, so usually in resumes, you can have like internships or jobs. And then I also recommend listing out projects. You can put them like under the same section. Some people do have like a project section. Some people have like a job section, so you can kind of separate out the two. But projects are great to put on resumes, especially collaborative ones. Anytime you're working with other people, that experience is super relevant to the industry. So you definitely want to put that on your resume. And if you aren't working on collaborative projects, see if you can get involved in one. Whether it's working on a film, maybe doing a title sequence for someone, maybe you're, even like a YouTube intro, for someone, anything like that where you're working with a client. Those are all really relevant experiences. So I definitely recommend including all that on resumes. And as far as like how you would incorporate that on a resume is just again, the same principles apply where you want to describe your role, how you worked with someone else, and what you accomplished.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Any other questions for Stephen?
Well, thank you so much. You guys reach out to Stephen if you need help with anything that's your, special help on your demo reel or your like website, business cards, that kind of thing. Or if you have that stuff already nailed down and it's all good, he's great to talk to for like mock interviews or anything like that. I've gone to Stephen a couple times, even just like if I'm feeling a little bit nervous about commotion or anything else, and he's helped me feel a lot more confident about, the whole process. So please reach out to him if you, want any one-on-one help like that. And I am going to go ahead and start sharing my screen again so we can go back to these points. All right. Share. Okay, so this is where we left off. So I don't have any examples pulled up on my computer right now because I didn't. I was in class when I found out that I was going to do this, but a lot of really awesome examples of websites, resumes in general, are on the archived Commotion website. If Krista or Carly can link that in the chat, if you click on anyone's face, like that will bring up an awesome example. One of my favorites for website and for resume is Castella's. She was a Momi Love officer last year. And she does a great job too of breaking down some of her projects with relevant information, not necessarily like the whole deck that she created for that class. Otherwise, when you're going through with your resume, considering like what you want to do for creative branding versus simplifying and finding a balance there is really important. And then in general, key information to feature would be experience and the descriptions of those experiences, like what you did. They should be articulate, relevant, and recent. But I think the relevant part is probably more important than the recent. Make sure your contact information is super easy to find, because that's something that like if someone can't contact you, it doesn't matter that they saw your resume. And the skills and education should also be relevant to the context of like wherever you're showing off your resume. And Krista, if you want to take over and say anything to that.
I mean, yeah, I feel like both of you also covered it and stuff, but yeah, especially with this year, everything being virtual, I feel like in general, we have to think about the way people move around your website and the way people move around your resume when looking on it. Because, the more clicks it takes somebody to get somewhere, or scrolls it takes for them to find your information when they have, plenty of other resumes and websites to look at, it just, making that, little bit of time just that much easier to find when they're looking for your email or whatever will make all the difference. Especially like through Momi Love, like even just the officers, like we've had that or gotten our little bit of a taste of that, like going through so many different whether it's company RSVPs or when you're handling a lot of information, that like split second that it takes to find that one thing that you're looking for makes all the difference. So that's just constantly be thinking about, like, if you were looking at this for the first time, and do like reach out to your other peers on the Discord, in your classes, or to your professors, like get other eyes on it, because that honestly is the most valuable resource that we have, is each other, and getting all the feedback that you can get, because when somebody sees it for the first time, they say, oh, that's kind of small, or I couldn't even really read what when you had worked at that company. Just all of that information is like super important, so don't hesitate to reach out to like your friends, professors, all of that stuff, because getting other people's opinion on it is super important. But yeah, on here we also have LinkedIn. So like LinkedIn is a great resource to have, first of all, because that a lot of companies do actually do recruiting on there, and will search, and it's basically just a digital like interactive resume. But that's also like, I think most people, or I would say like most, it's like kind of standard to have both, like have a solid resume on your website, and also having a LinkedIn account. I have a LinkedIn account that's like linked on my website, as well as, I think it's just a matter of preference for companies, like whichever ones that they're using to like do their main recruiting. They might already have your website and look at your resume through there, or they might find you through LinkedIn. So it's good to keep up with both and make sure that they're consistent, that like whatever jobs you have listed on your LinkedIn, you would also have on your resume, or vice versa. Yeah, so those, we have it here like listed as an alternative or a supplement. It's just a good extra thing to have as a precaution of like, you don't know where people would be finding your information.
Something that I've done in the past, like during Commotion, is one thing that a lot of us do is send like thank you emails to the people that we review with. Something else that I'll do, depending on like the kind of connection that I made, is I'll also send them like a thank you through LinkedIn, and like potentially use that as a way to connect with them there, so that you can see what they're up to, but also they're seeing your updates, they're seeing your growth throughout the whole year. So like try to utilize LinkedIn like during Commotion when you're meeting people, as a way to like keep those connections. And then if we want to go over to websites, some of the platforms that are pretty popular are Wix, Squarespace, Adobe Portfolio, and Webflow. For the last two, I'd say Adobe Portfolio is something that's free to us right now because we have an Adobe subscription from SCAD. My website is on Adobe Portfolio. It's not as customizable as all these options, but for free, it works really well. And if you have your own domain, then it doesn't have to say like your username myportfolio, adobeportfolio.com. Like it can just be your domain. And then Webflow is one that's really better suited for people who code their own websites. So if you're not someone who does that, I would not recommend Webflow. Wix or Squarespace or Adobe Portfolio would be the way to go. And then securing a domain, like your name or whatever kind of username that you want to go by. Mine's just my name. And I used GoDaddy to buy mine, and it was decently cheap. And if you just like connect the two together, then you've got a functional website. And then Krista touched on this earlier, having a clear layout and reducing the amount of clicking is something that's super helpful. Thinking about where you can consolidate information, because it can be kind of frustrating for people to be clicking through and trying to find one thing that they really want to see. They don't have a lot of time to spend. And then when it comes to the individual posts, breaking down the individual project is something that's really, really helpful. I can't tell you how many times I've had like companies talk to me. You say last year's Commotion, saying like, like seeing the process behind what you did adds so much more value to the end product or the end result, especially if you're doing something that's very like tactile or took a lot of work, or like showing a 3D, or like if there's something that you had to make to like create this, it adds a lot of value to that project. So I'm actually going to close this and go to the archived Commotion website. So this is just 2020.scadcommotion.com. And I will go down and show you some of the ones that I reference. I'm telling you guys, when I was building my website, my resume, I was looking at all these people's websites. So Casella is someone I mentioned. I believe she built her website on Squarespace. And she's got like 3 tabs right here. And it opens up to her work right here. And this was a project she did for the branding class. So there were a ton of deliverables for this project just to be, aware of, but, a little intro, tagging the people that you work with, and then all of her deliverables. you know, that kind of thing. 3D composition. Yeah, it's not too much, not too overwhelming, but she includes all of the deliverables in there. And then another one that I really enjoy is her Headspace project. It's really short, but she's got her video right here, and then, you know, her research and then character exploration. So it's not, you know, overwhelming amount of information, but it really shows that she did her research, and like, you know, while her project speaks for itself, it also is really helpful to see, you know, the thought behind these projects.
Like Anna was saying about sharing pictures and stuff of like your process, especially if you're doing something like tactile, but even just like in After Effects projects and stuff, like if it's really hard to remember while you are working to save those type of process things. Like I know a lot of us think about it as an afterthought of like, oh, I'm putting together my website, so now I'm going to put together what process I did for it. But it's the more you start thinking about it early on in a project, and like while you are doing things, be like, you know what, I'm going to take a picture of this, and whether or not you use it, you know, depending on like, you know, you might say, oh, this piece wasn't actually as relevant as I thought it was, but always like over, you know, document a little bit while you're working, and just think like it will all be, have this like collection of pictures or screenshots that you'll be able to choose from, that will like really help, like Anna was saying, show how much thought you put into your project while you were working on it.
This is Anna's website. She's one of our officers, and she built hers in Wix. I remember watching her do this, and Wix is the kind of website builder where you can literally drag and drop things wherever you want it. And she has a pretty big interest in design. So, you know, she went out on a limb and designed something really unique that, you know, doesn't look so much as like a template, and it's really custom to what she wanted. And she's got a couple different tabs all over up here and down here. So, you know, Wix has a ton of room just to make, super custom.
I feel whatever platform you use to build your website is a very like personal choice, that you'll have to kind of do your own exploration with that, because we have like recommendations, I think, for like whatever stage you are in your, you know, SCAD or like post SCAD career, I guess. But like, because Portfolio, like Anna was saying, is linked to, you can link it to your Adobe Portfolio website, or account that we have through SCAD, but that would potentially, I think there is a way to link it later on, but some people said it's kind of difficult to figure out. So like keeping that in mind while you're building your website, because it's free, it's a great option for newer students, or like first year of like freshmen or sophomores who are just building their website and don't want to have to, you know, pay the $200 every year for their 4 years in school when it's not that high stakes. So it's really great to like, Adobe Portfolio is a great option for that. But then like Squarespace and Wix, which have a lot more customization, but like are kind of much more expensive than free, basically are another great option. And then like Anna was saying, Webflow has a steep learning curve, but has a lot more customization options. So every option has pros and cons for what you might need. So if you're thinking of one, definitely like dive into the research, because it's worth figuring out which one will work for you, instead of like starting or like buying a subscription to one and finding out it doesn't work for you, or that's not the one that you really wanted. So yeah.
The last thing we've got on here is just a nod to social media presence. A lot of other people I've talked to have also said that, you know, aside from LinkedIn and their website, their Instagram is something that like clients find, and they actually get like a ton of jobs through Instagram, like more than you would, you know, initially imagine for something that's, you know, for fun or, you know, a social media platform. So, you know, building maybe like something there. It's also a really great space to put things that are less either like fully developed or like, less professional projects, more like fun stuff can go on your Instagram as well if you feel like there isn't a place for that on your website. Yeah. Is there anything?
No, yeah, I don't really know. I feel like it's just a good
Yeah, you guys
thing
know.
to have a link to it, because yeah, like it's kind of like the LinkedIn thing as well. Like you never know what companies prefer, or like
Mhm.
who's looking where. So just to have all of those linked so that it's easy to find your work from
Yes.
whichever one they find you on is really important.
Yeah, make sure on your social media too, like Krista was saying, either get your website linked there or your email or something else, so that if someone sees your work, they aren't just left like wondering, who is this? Do I have to DM them? Are they ever going to open this message? Just make it as easy as possible for people to contact you, because that's the best way to go.
Oh, something else quick I just thought of is putting your number on your website. So I know with contacting people, some people do prefer calling, and that's a great option to have. But at the same time, we don't always want to be just putting our phone number on the internet for anybody to be able to find. So a great option that I have a Google Voice number. And that is the one that is on my resume that is shown on my website and on my website. So that way, like, if that ever gets, like, I don't know, scammed, or like I start getting a bunch of scam calls from it or something, like I could always change the number and update it, but it won't be my real number. So that's like totally free and really easy to set up. And it's like, I don't really ever use it much, but it's really a great option to have if like you want your phone number on your website but don't want like your phone number on your website. So yeah, I wanted to throw that out there, that Google Voice is a great option for that.
All right. So that about wraps up our talk on portfolio websites and resumes. Next couple things we have are just, basic housekeeping, announcements, things that you guys should already know. But since our last meeting, we have opened up the portfolio review applications for Commotion. So this and the student showcase submissions are both due on February 3rd, right before midnight. Both have guidelines, and just like make sure you're reading everything and submitting things correctly, because or else, we won't be able to accept submissions or applications. For the portfolio review application, the main guideline is like, it's in there. You just have to say yes when you read the terms and conditions, have a place where you have your work somewhere, like a website. Student showcase submission guidelines are a little bit more detailed, but we've got the PDF up there for you to review anytime. And then to go back to what we talked about earlier, so we have added Meptic as a company who wants to do portfolio reviews. So if you're someone who submitted your portfolio review application before they were added, you can resubmit your application as long as it's before this deadline on the 3rd. And we'll just take whatever most recent application you have. Some people have already done that like multiple times over. So don't worry, we'll just take your most recent application.
Yeah, and it's super important to meet that deadline, because the way that Commotion is planned and works is like we have to get things rolling, because there's a process after you submit and after we get everybody's students, because it's a process to pair every student with companies and schedule that entire weekend and make sure everybody knows who they're reviewing with. Like, as much as, we would like to be, I guess, flexible on that date, we're not, and we can't really be for Commotion to happen. So it's just a reminder that it's super important to meet that deadline, especially for portfolio reviews, as just the way it's planned. So thank you for like, I guess, like understanding, and the people who have like already submitted too. Like, we're so excited in general, and this year is going to be a great Commotion. And so you should be excited to submit your portfolio of applications and your work to Student Showcase. It's just a great opportunity for you to connect with companies and just get your work out there. So we're just excited overall, and we hope you all will like participate and keep up with the deadline. We'll post a few like more reminders, so make sure you're checking the Discord or our social media for any updates about that type of stuff. Because we've posted about those 2 companies that were added, so just stay up to date.
For a little bit of like transparency, that date of February 3rd, that's when the portfolio review applications close, right? And like it's either the very next day or the day after is when the professors start reviewing portfolios. So like there is no room to extend that specific one. Just want to put that out there. That's why we have it that way. And also, I know I wrote these links out right here in this presentation. They're linked all over the Discord. We'll link them again just so that, you know, it doesn't get lost anywhere, but they're all over the Discord. So don't worry about writing this down.
The general announcements channel, if you're ever lost on like where an important link is or date, just go through the general announcements. That's like I'd say main spot for super important info. So
yeah, okay. So this again is just the list of companies who have RSVP'd to Commotion. We've got a couple new companies. We've got a bunch of companies who have been to Commotion in the past, and we're so excited to have all of them. In our Instagram post, we tagged all of the studios, if not, or you know, if we're missing a couple, it's because they don't have an Instagram. So that's what's available right now. And then when the Commotion website is launched, all of these companies will be linked there so that you can look at their websites as well. But if you have trouble finding any of these companies, reach out and we can give you guys the link to their websites.
Yeah, most of them you should be able to find with like a quick Google search. But if not, like, I mean, I think we've all tried to do it before of when you search it and it's kind of just a regular name and you have to search like motion design, studio design, you know, like you have to try to search for a little bit for a few of them. But like Anna said, for the most part, a lot of them are linked. The ones who are at a previous Commotion are linked on last year's archived website that we posted earlier. And yeah, just check the like list on our Instagram too. Or if you have any questions, like you said, if you see a logo that you're not sure what it is or can't find it. Also, the companies are listed in the portfolio review application. And the way that the application works, for anybody who doesn't really know, it's basically just you have to answer a few questions just to make sure that you understand what you're applying for. But then there's just, you get 10 choices. So you get to choose your top 10 companies in order that you would like to review with. So that's, you could always like click on that link and basically look at the companies there for like a full list if you needed that or needed to see it a different way. But yeah, or just to see how the application works. But has anybody had any trouble or have any questions about portfolio reviews?
Can you guys hear me?
You're a little quiet.
Hold up. I noticed, like, going through that we had a couple of like people who submitted like 5 times. So I promise if you submit and it goes through, that it's gone through.
Did mine go through?
Yeah, once. So thank you. Don't everybody hit me up asking that.
We can also, like if you are really, unsure, like if you had computer problems or something and you're like, I'm not sure if it, like my Wi-Fi cut out when I hit send, I don't know. Like if you're unsure and don't want to submit it again or whatever, you can always, message one of us on Discord and just be like, hey, I'm not sure if mine went through. Can you check the forms? And we can always do that for you. it does, I know that this is a really important thing for a lot of people, and it doesn't help. I mean, it doesn't hurt to double check if you are worried about that, because we do want to make sure that you're getting your reviews. Yeah, and I mean, this, we'll send one after the deadline, a confirmation email, just a general, like, we received your portfolio review under this email, and that way, and we'll send out a reminder too that confirmation emails have been sent or something, so that you guys can know, and if anything happens, you can let us know right away. Any other questions about portfolio reviews or companies or websites?
I had a question about Student Showcase. So do we just need to submit the final, piece, or do we also need to submit the concept and the process?
So there's a pretty extensive guidelines PDF that's in the that should be linked in the general announcements page, and we can relink that or send it to you directly if that would help too. But just because there's a lot of rules and I don't want to skip anything that I say here, but in general, for motion pieces, you just need to make sure that you're following the guidelines for the way that it's named, the the file limit, so that it'll fit on the drive, and just the video itself. So, and making sure that it's submitted in the right folder. For design frames, you need to format the PDF so that it's, all of the style frames are full bleed, and you get the only thing for process is a concept statement that's basically the size of a tweet, not extensive at all, and that's mainly just because we don't have the time really to go through the amount of projects that we have to go through on the day of with that much process. So like we've said before with Anna too, it's kind of, the idea is your work for the most part should speak for itself, at least with motion pieces, and having just one pretty easy to digest concept statement will say a lot for your frames.
Okay.
That's the general gist of it. But I would definitely look at the guidelines document before you submit and just double check that you have met all the guidelines.
Yeah, I can check that out. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Any other questions?
If our domain name is going to change, like the website that we put as our portfolio, do you want us to submit a new one, or do you want us to contact you about what it's changed to? Because I don't want to submit another, a multiple request. And the only thing that changes is my website.
I would put whatever it's going to be on that weekend of February 4th.
Okay.
At least for the applications. Yeah.
Well, I already submitted the application, so that's why.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just DM one of us and we'll go in our documents and update it for you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And I think for anybody else who has that, if you're afraid of one link not working or something like that, because I know my portfolio, my Adobe portfolio, being hosted through GoDaddy sometimes doesn't work for some people on some computers sometimes. So basically, if you had, I don't think there's a word limit on that slot where you could write your website, and if you have two links or something, you could always put both of them in case one of them doesn't work. We would see that one works and try the other one. So yeah, that's also an option. Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, if that's it. There's a couple things left and then we can wrap up. So, upcoming events. The next Momi Love meeting is going to be a demo reel intro, but it's not going to be a super in-depth thing because we're planning a demo reel workshop with Kelly. The Momi Love meeting after that, which I believe will be the Momi Love meeting right before commotion.
I think it's 2 away, or maybe it's one of the last ones.
That one will be on professionalism and how to present yourself, designing the space around you, what you might need, and specifically like, for like an online kind of event, but also just like if you haven't had the chance to interact with people in the industry before, just like a heads up and, how to go about that, how to conduct yourself. And then just a final reminder that the deadline for Student Showcase and portfolio reviews is on the 3rd of February.
So a week from today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's it. We're here if you guys have any questions about anything else. If you have any issues, again, with these applications, feel free to DM one of us. We're happy to, go in and, jazz it up for you.
It looks like Mel won the pizza.
Oh,
Yay!
Thank you guys.
awesome. Gia's gonna DM you so you can figure that out. Congrats on the pizza.
We wish we could share with you.
Yeah, so that's it for today. Thanks so much, guys, for coming.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Hope that this was helpful. Don't hesitate to reach out to any of us or Steven if you have questions about your portfolio, your website, portfolio reviews, any of that stuff. Yeah, and have a good week.
Yeah, I just want to make sure. Did my portfolio review go through? I'm not sure.
You might want to resubmit like 2 or 3 more.
Yeah, and make sure that you ask Kagan. You can add him in the Discord. Usually he doesn't answer right away, so adding him like 4 or 5 times is usually the way to go.
Yeah, because sometimes I'm sleeping. And
I think the best. Does everybody want Kagan's phone number? That's probably the best way to contact him. I can just put that in the chat real quick.
it is on my site.
It's even better than that, in-person contact. 6 feet, of course, but
Yeah, he lives at 1-3.
Yeah, if you guys want to come over, we can both check on my computer. I live in Vermont though, so good luck.
It's not a real place.